Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, marks and smarks alike, we proudly welcome you to the internet's only wrestling podcast. That's right, we are the only one. We want to welcome you to Pin the Champ! Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Pin the Champ. You know, today we actually have, this is going to be the first episode that is just me and Song, because today...
So I want to apologize in advance.
No, that's going to be fine, man. Kyle is playing hooky today, and I'll give my theory on his departure today, in just a little bit. But no, in all actuality, in reality, we hope everything's good. But now also, we're going to be returning to form today because we're hopping back in our time machine again, and we're going to be reviewing the Monday Night Raw. They are back on February 22nd, 1993, because lately we've been doing we did the viewer request for WrestleMania 7, and then we followed that up. We decided to go ahead and do the WrestleMania 37 review because we didn't know what kind of limbo we were in with the Peacock transition, we'll call it.
Luckily that all worked itself out.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, we're going back to what we do, reviewing the old Raws as they began back in 93. If you haven't watched the February 22nd episode of Monday Night Raw yet, you might want to go hop off and take a look at it so you'll be up to speed with what we're about to talk about. But if not, whatever, listen to us. Either which way, we have fun, and we're glad that you're here listening to us today. Now, before we get started on the episode, Song, what you been up to this week?
Not much, just watching some of the current product from the WWF, some AEW, things like that. Been enjoying Kenny Omega current run in 3 different promotions. I don't know if you've caught any of that at all, but it's been a fun watch.
Yeah. I haven't caught any of like the Impact Wrestling stuff, but of course the AEW stuff that's going on, I've caught little clips about what's going on here and there, and it seems like a real fun angle. I really love Kenny Omega. I kind of can't wait to see like what happens over the next couple of years with him.
Yeah, he has a match coming up with Andrade.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. That's awesome. In AAA, right?
Yep, AAA for their world title too. So
do you
it'll be a fun watch?
Do you ever do you know how to watch that? I know that I do not.
Legally?
Yeah, legally.
No, I know. It's gonna be BitTorrent, man.
There you go. Oh man, I know that earlier this week we were talking about, aside from wrestling, we were talking about that we're happy that we're seeing live music popping back up everywhere. We were talking about.
Oh my goodness, yeah. And speaking of live music, both AEW and WWE are planning to go back on the road starting in July. So that's something I'm looking forward to. Hopefully, we can catch a show near us or something.
Yep, I actually had that on the list of things to mention as well. That's funny you said that. They're actually going back on sale. I think that WWE is going back on tour in July. I was wondering if they're going to come here too, and I was thinking that we should definitely get tickets and go see one of the live shows when they come through.
If they do come to Richmond, I don't know where the Coliseum is no longer available.
I didn't even think about that. Wow.
The last time they stopped here, it was a house show that was done in Petersburg at the Virginia State University basketball stadium, which is very small.
They're gonna have it at the home of the Squirrels.
Oh my goodness, the Diamond.
Have it at the Diamond, yeah. No, or they'll just do like a backyard venue somewhere, like a backyard wrestling venue.
Oh god, we could set up a ring in your backyard and charge for tickets.
WWE in your house, literally.
Backyard edition.
Yeah, dude. I already have Idols tickets in DC to go see Idols, and I know you and I are talking about Drive By Truckers and Jason Isbell, so that's
cool.
Yeah. So also next week, I'm headed to Asheville, North Carolina to see a pal of mine, and we're going to be walking some trails. It's going to be like a guy's trip. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, you're going to
A
give
lot of nice breweries down in Asheville, too. You should hit up.
Oh, we will be.
Don't ask me to name it off the top of my head, though, because I can't remember.
No, it's okay. That's cool, man. I'll definitely have to hit you up with some pics of the beers we take or we're drinking. Sweet.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. All right, dude. So before we get started on today's episode and giving our opinions on today's episode, as usual, we want to throw a toast up in the air this week. And this week we've decided to toast someone who another unfortunate passing in the wrestling world. We're going to raise a glass to New Jack. Now, honestly, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I knew a lot about New Jack or saw a ton of New Jack matches, but I do know who he is, and I know that he was super crazy. I saw the Dark Side of the Ring episode for sure, and that made me I think it had to summarize it pretty well. I think I love Dark Side of the Ring.
Right. It's a great show. Great show.
Definitely. Yeah. It was a polarizing figure in the wrestling world. But yeah, raise a glass to New Jack.
New Jack, R.I.P.
R.I.P., brother. All right. Now on to this episode of Monday Night Raw and my theory of why Kyle is not here. You know how Kyle gets real quiet when he doesn't like a match or something about a match? You know what I'm saying?
I think I know where you're going with this then.
I think that
the quality of this show.
Quality of this Raw was so bad, I think Kyle totally was like, I'm not even going to show up. But for real though, we'll give our summary at the end of the show, but yeah, man, this should be a pretty easy one to get through because there really wasn't too much to this Raw. It was like a Hulk Hogan commercial.
Plus, we've been covering 3-hour shows, so this one felt like a breeze.
Oh yeah, it was nice. So all right, so Raw, February 22nd, 1993. Rob Bartlett introduces us to Monday Night Raw, and immediately attempts to insult all wrestling fans by saying that we cannot spell. I guess he's saying that he thought we couldn't spell, but because he saw somebody in the audience with a Hulk poster that we can now spell. So, and this also was a platform episode for Bartlett. I feel like he, Sawyer's dad many times through this show, made sure to like put his 2 cents in during the matches, and it was hilarious. It was
right. Well, he did some more bad impressions.
Hilarious, too. Yes. Impressions, all this, the Mo Kemp Larry or whatever he was doing. Anyway, it was Vince, Savage, and Bartlett on commentary.
So is it safe to say he's not growing on you at all on commentary?
No, dude. And I feel like at this point, I feel like this episode was a turning point in the way that it felt like he was just totally giving up on trying to be like, okay, I know I'm not a wrestling person or a wrestling personality, but I now have this job with WWE on their premiere show.
Right.
So I'm going to try to attempt to learn about wrestling. I feel like that this is the episode that he very first was like, nah, just screw it all. I'm just Larry Kemp, whatever he was doing.
So it's just like, it's basically now, all right, it's just a paycheck for me now. I'm not going to bother learning the product.
And even beyond that, he's going to like do what he wants on air, like, even though he knows it's ridiculous, but whatever. Vince, Savage, and Bartlett are on commentary. Bartlett has his pants pulled up around his nipples. I don't know if you noticed that. I know they showed off his shirt. I don't even know what that was all about either. But
that was a mess. The start of I don't know what they were going for. It seems like they weren't prepared for the camera to roll.
It seems like this. Do you think this is like the first episode of Raw with multiple rewrites that they talk about are commonplace today? Potentially, but we very quickly get to the first match of the night, and it's Bam Bam Bigelow versus legend Scott Taylor. This dude, he did have a legendary mullet A couple of the jobbers in today's episode had pretty great mullets.
They were all like, mullets were big back then. This is early 90s. That was a thing.
Yeah, Crush had a pretty kick-ass mullet in this episode as well. It looked like he had a raccoon hanging off the back of his head. But dude, I was surprised Scott Taylor even got any offense in at all in this match, but he got a little bit in. He had a little bit, yeah. A little section where he got a little offense in on Bam Bam, but in the end, Bam Bam hits him with 3 headbutts, 2 from the top rope before pinning him. Actually, it kind of looked like
with this headbutt, I was gonna bring it up like. Scotty was pretty far away from him the first go around, so I felt like he probably didn't feel like he got a good hit with that first one, and that might have been like why he did the second headbutt and then went to the closer side, the closer turnbuckle, and flew off of that.
He was like, I should have done so much cocaine before I came out here. He's like,
so
off my perception.
That's Scotty Too Hottie, right?
It is not, is it?
It's Scotty Too Hottie, yeah. Before the worm,
bro. See, and that's the whole thing, is that's the whole generation of wrestlers that I was not in tune with, because that's that spot of time that I was out. So what I was but the thing is I was watching this episode of Raw. I remember this episode of Raw, but later on I didn't really know Scotty Too Hottie until I got back into wrestling again, so I didn't connect those things because I had no idea. Awesome. I learned something today on this episode.
So he's not a known guy, but, at one point during the Attitude Era, him and Jerry Lawler's kid, Grandmaster Sexy, they were, they had some good pop when they came out. So
that's true. Yeah, I do remember seeing some stuff with them. Didn't they have kind of like the dance numbers going on?
Yeah, with Rikishi.
Yeah, that's right. But
not much about this match. It was a squash.
No, and you're absolutely correct. I feel like your assessment of what was going on in Bam Bam Bigelow's head during that match, it was spot on. He was super far. Commentary even said, look at the distance. He jumps, and I think he kind of was like you said, I don't think I hit that very well. He immediately drops for another headbutt, a regular headbutt, and then he's like, nah, I got to give him the flying headbutt the right way. You're absolutely right there. But after the Bam Bam squash match, we get a backstage interview with Vince and Hulk Hogan. And it's one of these, dimly lit, sit down in the director's chair interviews. Vince is talking to Hogan about his upcoming announcement later this evening. And Vince is mentioning that everybody hopes that he's going to announce his return. And Hogan is admitting at this point, he's human. He really sounds like a politician in this interview a lot.
I was going to say, he even managed a way to throw the media under the bus too.
Right, talking shit about the tabloids, trying to instigate things. And, this is a weird time for the Hulkster. The 80s was his big run, and the early 90s as the world is turning over from the 80s, and, all the grunge era is happening, and the early 90s happening. The steroid trials happen in 92.
Yeah.
So this is what Hogan is, most likely talking about. But, this little segment is just hilarious to me how, like, as a kid, never registered to me like, oh, this sounds super political. But now as
yeah. I mean, even from the side, well, you don't focus on the negative. We're going to focus on the positive.
Exactly.
Look this way. Don't look. Yes. No.
We're not going to. No. He said, one thing about the Hulkamaniacs is we don't focus on the negative. It's like, so look at that tape, kids.
Right. It's like, no steroids here. No.
All right. So after the backstage interview with Hulkster, we get Beverly Brothers and Intercontinental Champion Shawn Michaels versus the Nasty Boys in Tatanka. This match starts off with a proper brawl, and there's a couple of different brawls that happen in this match. Again, not a super fun match to watch. It was a paint by numbers 6-man tag match. The baby
it was more to it was just to build the title match between Tatanka and Shawn Michaels down the road, because from the get-go, as soon as Tatanka came out, he went straight for Shawn, and that's how the match kind of started.
And that's how it ends too, because that's when Tatanka Sunset flips Michaels for the win on that reversal.
Right.
Yeah, just flips him right into it. Again, what's crazy about it is now that I'm thinking back, I didn't really consider it, but it's probably the match of the night just because of the other matches. But only because
just shows how bad the show was.
Right. It was the best match because it was a complete match. So,
Did you
Tatanka.
ever? Were you ever a fan of the Nasty Boys at all? I just couldn't buy into them as a.
Oh, that's right. Here's the thing. And I think Kyle was talking about he didn't like the Nasties either for the same kind of reason. And I didn't really have a huge opinion of them. I think I hated them because they had the feud going with the Hart Foundation, and those were my guys.
Right.
And but
Well,
I will say that for brawlers, I think that the Nasty Boys can work to a great match if they are with the right
dance partners,
the right tag team. So I will say that as brawlers, I grew to respect them, especially like in their WCW days. Like after the WWE days when they went WCW, I think they had some pretty great matches with the Harlem Heat that I saw.
Okay.
And they kind of gained my respect there. But as wrestlers, of course, and characters, no, they're like
I could get past their antics.
They're human silly string.
Right. It's just too much. I can't deal with them. And we always talk about the purity of tag teams, and these guys, they dress alike, they almost look alike. They should, they're a tag team.
They tick the boxes.
Yeah, they check all the boxes. I should like them, but I cannot for the life of me.
Well, they're from that day.
Get with it.
Yeah, but they're from a day and age that there weren't a lot of just throwing together tag teams. We had a whole nother 5 or 6 tag teams to choose from that we did like. Now if the Nasty Boys happen, I'd be like, yay, they're dressed the same.
Right.
Just like you said.
Yeah.
I'd probably like them more just because I'd be like, okay, wow, they're actually in it to be a tag team. That's
I guess they came up during the wrong era.
Yeah.
They would probably be a legit tag team in this day and age.
Maybe. But their antics still did suck, the armpit thing.
Yeah, I can do it out I've never been a fan of that type of antic in wrestling, like the whole shoving people. Like that's why I don't like the bushwhacker. They just look like they stink. So those type of immature type antics, shoving somebody's face in your armpit, or like Rikishi throwing his butt into people's faces. I always hated that part of wrestling, and I don't get why that kind of gets it always gets a pop too when that. So that's just me on my soapbox.
You know what, man? I take things like that on a case-by-case basis, I think that there are really successful examples of that happening throughout wrestling history where it's like, this was funny, it was stupid as shit, but it was funny as hell. But then there are ones that are just cringeworthy. Like, and it just kind of depends on
a very thin line.
Kind of depends on what kind of wrestling you want to see too. It's just, there's funny wrestling. There's like Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect technical wizardry wrestling. There's high spot wrestling. There's all those kind of things, and different wrestling fans like different things. And I just take this kind of things on a case by case basis. But yeah, never loved the Nasty Boys. But like you said, this match was really to highlight Tatanka and the fact that he can pin Michaels, who is the Intercontinental Champion. And, of course, that match is going to happen later at WrestleMania 9, which we get a preview for next.
It's insane how – I'm just saying it's insane that they're building up Mania because this show is in February,
right?
Right. Yeah, and Mania back then was April.
I think it's April. Yeah, it's 2 months, man. They're going to build.
Well, they gave it 2 months. You don't get that type of build for Mania. You
don't get that type of build for anything these days. So it's
it's like thrown the week before most of the time.
Right.
Like outside the title matches, I guess, because the Rumble winner will get so that kind of build from there. But other rivalry, it's kind of just, oh, it is Mania weekend. Oh, we better build a rivalry.
Yeah. They take their sweet time these days. Yeah, it just I think it kind of varies year to year. Some years there's like a good build, and some years there's just like no build. It's just thrown together.
Yeah.
After the WrestleMania 9 preview, they go outside to Sean Mooney, and again they're outside the Manhattan Center in the morning time, and they're interviewing people who are waiting to get into Raw, and of course, everybody is saying that they're making a huge deal out of Hogan being back, and here's what I think Hogan's going to do, this and that. Of course, they weren't staged at all. I'm sure. I'm sure they weren't told what to say.
Right.
Each and every one of them was like, I just can't wait for the Hulkster, but yeah. So again, they just want to remind you later on, Hulk Hogan, stay tuned.
Yeah. Those fans were definitely bad actor reading lines.
Yeah. So then we get to best, like I said, best mullet of the night, Kona Crush versus terrific Terry Taylor. Crush wins this one with a submission finisher. Again, not a great match. Terry Taylor, you get to see him work a little bit in this match. He works his heel self, and he always does this. And as Kyle would say, we are a Terry Taylor podcast. And
we just find jobbers, and we just connect with jobbers apparently.
Yeah, but I will say that this is I never noticed as a kid, but this Crush's finisher sucked, dude. Just grab their head and crush it, and then pick them up by their head, and then they sit on their ass.
Right. There wasn't even a tap out. The ref just called it.
Yeah, exactly. Because otherwise, I think what that is they're saying that if I don't stop this match, this dude's head's going to explode.
Yeah. Nah, it's a really bad finisher. I mean, maybe, but when you think about it, like some of the other finisher, like the leg drop, is just a leg drop. Why is that a finisher?
Well, everybody knows Hogan sucked. No.
Well, people, people do leg drops all the time and they don't get a 3 count, but if Hogan does it, it's a 3 count.
Right. So it's because if it's your finisher, you're the best at doing it, right? Everybody else who does a leg drop, they don't know the secret that Hogan knows when he does his leg drop. It's all about the way he comes off of the rope. Is when he hits the ropes and he comes back off. He thinks in his head, I'm doing this for the red, white, and the blue.
Right.
He's recalling the vitamins he ate earlier in the morning.
Yeah, vitamins. That's right.
Yeah. And he leaps up in the air and drops those, I don't know, what are the muscles in your legs called?
Quads?
Is it quads?
I don't know.
I want to say quads, but that could be.
Shows how much we know about working out, right?
I bet you could guess how many muscles we have. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's why a song. I mean, everybody knows that. If it's your finisher, you perfected it, and you're the best at it. Come on.
Gotcha.
Did you like Crush as Kona Crush better, or as Demolition Crush better?
Demolition.
Yeah, that's how we got introduced to him. Yeah. I liked him better.
I'm not feeling like his outfit is stupid. His mullet is stupid.
Doesn't he have like a fist on his? Yeah. He's saying,
"Bruh, what a bra."
Shaka bra.
That's annoying as hell.
Yeah,
the character just never caught on.
He's very pastel, but I think that Vince McMahon absolutely loved him because of his size.
Yeah, well, he likes big dudes. So.
Yeah, and he cannot lie. All right, so next we go to video of Money Incorporated attacking Hulk Hogan's pal, Brutus the Barber Beefcake. After the video, we get a commercial, but after we get back, we get Vince in the ring, and he introduces the Hulkster. The Hulk comes out, and he says, Bret Hart, you just wait till Mania 9, brother. I'm leaving with that belt around my waist. No, I'm just kidding. He didn't say that. But that is what happens. But,
yeah.
But
he wrote himself into that story, I'm sure.
But what really happens is he actually talks about watching Brutus's return, being happy about seeing Brutus the Barber Beefcake out there and being able to do his thing again until he saw the attack with the briefcase. He said the good news, though, is that Brutus is okay. Hogan thanks the big Hulkster in the sky, and he also thanks Jimmy Hart, who previously forever had been a heel manager, at this point, for stopping the second briefcase shot. Hulk Hogan says officially at this point that he's back in the ring, back in the WWE rather, to right the wrongs first of Money Incorporated. At this point, he asked for Brutus the Barber Beefcake to come on down to the ring. So Brutus comes out. He's got tape on his nose. He's got, fantastic pair of Oakleys on it, covering that up. He's got real life bruises on his face. I'm sure they're not makeup at all. Brutus the Barber Beefcake thanks Jimmy Hart and God as well for having his back. And Hulk Hogan says that they've got a brand new manager in Jimmy Mouth of the South Hart. So official face turn at this point. The face turn started last week with Jimmy Hart when he sacrificed his scrawny little body to save Brutus Barber Beefcake's giant carcass.
Right.
So yeah, Bruce, Hart comes out. He's all decked in red and yellow. He's got a red and yellow megaphone now. And Jimmy Hart says he's always idolized Hogan and thinks that Brutus the Barber Beefcake and Hogan are going to be the best tag team of all time. Did you at all at the moment when he was like, I've always idolized you, Hogan, or whatever he says it? I've always, whenever I can't do impressions, but
right.
Whenever he says, I've always idolized you, all I can do is think like, so why for years and years have you been bringing these people like King Kong Bundy and,
to try to
destroy Hogan? You've got a weird way of showing you idolize somebody.
Yeah, no, his words should have been like, throughout the years of battle, I've grown to respect you. Right. Not just come out. I've always idolized you, so I try to bring in people to crush you.
Yeah, it seems really weird.
This is a face turn that came out of nowhere, and it, it didn't make any sense for the face turn, but I don't know.
Well, either which way, Jimmy's a Hulkamaniac now, and he says he's going to take his vitamins, but Money Incorporated needs to say their prayers. Yeah, Hogan dubs his team at this point officially the Megamaniacs to close the segment out. All right. I thought that this was going to be the end of the show, but it actually wasn't. The next thing that happened,
it got strange, right?
Yeah, it got really weird. Because next we get our main event, which was The Undertaker with Paul Bearer versus Skinner. So this match, yeah, exactly. We come back and the match is already in progress. Skinner is actually getting some good offense in on Undertaker.
Right, he knocked Taker out the ring.
Yeah, man, he clotheslined him right out of the ring. Yeah. He's choking Undertaker with his alligator claw. But weirdly enough, and I don't know if I guess we'll find out eventually, but weirdly enough, Raw runs out of time with Vince screaming at us that we'll get to know who wins this match next week. I am guessing.
This is my theory about
who do you think wins this match first? I mean, I'm thinking Skinner.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. But here's why I think this match ran out of time. Vince knows exactly what he's doing. He wants 2 hours. He wants the network to give him 2 hours.
This is his play. He's like, if you don't give me 2 hours, you don't get the conclusion of tonight.
I'm gonna drag this match out, or the main event. I'm gonna put it with only 5 minutes left on the show.
Yeah.
So as you can see, we need the extra hours.
Yeah.
So that was his play all along. He wanted the 2 hours, and USA was going to give it to him.
Man, I never thought about it that way, but that's pretty smart. Damn, Song. You and Vince probably think alike.
We probably do. Most geniuses do.
Hey, man, you want to start a wrestling organization? Oh, man. Anyway, but yeah, so for that reason, I will tell you that Hogan, this was like I said at the beginning of the episode, to me, this felt like a Hulk Hogan commercial. This whole episode of Raw was like
Definitely.
a Hulk Hogan commercial. And then for it to end with Skinner beating up the Undertaker and us not knowing if Undertaker will survive.
Tune in to find out next week.
Next episode. Yeah. Yeah, man. So, yeah. definitely my least favorite. It's the reason why Kyle didn't show up.
We probably should have watched this episode and be like, no, go to the next one.
Just go to the next one. No. But no, we want him to listen to this whole episode for sure. So you can skip the episode. Listen to us. Listen to us. Oh, we should have skipped it.
Listen to us, but we should have skipped this and review another episode.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's what I'm saying. No, don't tune us out. Don't tune us out.
Yeah, and also just no. There was nothing but filler matches. It wasn't even. They could have thrown one good match like in there somewhere.
Right. Well, it's all leading up to Mania, so it's like you kind of. It's the same with TV show. You have filler episode for, especially like TV shows that have 23 episodes in a season.
Well,
you're gonna get 4 or 5 filler episodes.
I've got news for you, buddy.
Dead.
I've got news for you, buddy. Spoiler alert: WrestleMania 9 does not end nicely either. Oh man. Anyway, did you have any other additional thoughts, or did I pretty much sum that one up for you? Or I
think you can just sum this episode up with the thumbs down.
Yeah. Anyway, we want to know what our listeners think as well. What'd you guys think of the episode? Was this if you've been watching each episode with us, was this like your least favorite episode yet?
Don't take our word for it.
Yeah.
Watch it. Let us know.
What was your favorite part of this terrible episode? I guess. I mean, that's a good question for you, I guess, Song, before we end the episode. If you had
favorite part of this terrible episode. So the high spot
of this low point.
Low episode. It has to be the 6-man tag with Tatanka and the Nasty Boys and Shawn Michaels and the Beverly Brothers. Huh. I mean, that was a full match. It was like you said, it was paint by number, but at least it was a match. It had a finish. Unlike our main event.
I mean, yeah, you got to give it that. It was a solid match. I am going to go with getting to watch the process that Bam Bam Bigelow went through during his finisher.
Right, we got to see his mind work in real time. That's pretty cool.
Exactly.
That was pretty cool.
All right, at this point, we've summed it up. Again, we ask our listeners, hit us up. Let us know what you think of the episode as well. We look forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much for listening.
Good night.
Good night.
As always, thank you so much for listening. Now we want to hear from you. You can hit us up at pinthechamppodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter and Instagram at pinthechamp123, and our Google Voice number is 804-446-1139. We can't wait to hear from you.